Tavares. Tavares coming out, sends it in a goal. They score! They score! Holy Mackinac, they score! Morgan Riley! Mo Riley! The Leafs have won it! They're going to the second round!
Gonna run for it, he got it! And there he goes! Inside the 10, the 5! Oh, the play of the year in the NFL!
Welcome back, everyone, to the Buzz Mafia channel. It's time for part 3 of the Draft What-If series. First week was Atlantic Division, which we got a lot of feedback from Montreal fans about Cooley over Slafkovsky. I'm still sticking with my guns with Cooley. I understand that, Montreal fans, and I agree that they needed size. He definitely is a good fit there. Definitely a top 5 pick worthy, but I think Montreal fans are kidding themselves. If it was a 1-for-1 trade, they wouldn't accept that trade. I understand he fits well and they needed size. You can sign size or you can draft size later on in the draft, not first overall. But moving on, last week we did the Metro Division, and that was a great one too. Some Carolina fans commented saying, yeah, you have definitely taken Brady Tkachuk over Andrei Svechkov, definitely. But now we're part 3. This is the Central Division. None as crazy, I would say, as the last 2 weeks, as some of these Central Division teams have drafted fairly well. Some of these draft picks, they still ended up are working out very, very nicely. I'm just kind of thinking of in terms of maybe he's a better fit for this other player. So just a little recap. I'm not for these draft what-ifs. I'm not going too far down the list. I'm not going too far, the early 2000s, anything like that. Kind of within a 10 to 15 year span, and as well as I don't want to do like a 7th round pick, 6th round pick kind of a what if, because that means, again, like I said, every team kind of missed on this player. So I want it to be, a few picks later, something like that, where a lot makes sense for that team. And before we get into it, please comment, like, subscribe to the YouTube channel. 55 subscribers. We're getting hundreds of views on these videos, which is great. So please show your support. As well as support, please find in the link below our Movember link, me and Jackson. We're doing a thing where for every $20, we will be running a kilometer in either Leafs gear myself or Bills gear for Jackson. We're already almost at $600 in the first 2 weeks, which is incredible. Thank you for the love and support. So yeah, hit that like, hit that comment, hit that subscribe to the YouTube, and go check out the Movember page. But let's get into the Central Division Draft what-ifs. First up, we got the Colorado Avalanche. And now in 2019, again, they took a solid player. He's not there anymore, but he won a Stanley Cup with them, a very solid top 4 defenseman. That's Bowen Byram. He was drafted 4th overall. Obviously, he had some concussion issues, some mental issues, everything like that. Still a very solid player. Great. Worked well in the Colorado system. Traded him to Buffalo for Casey Milstead, I believe. 115 points, 260 games. Very solid, good skater. Apparently, he's a great personality and everything. But to me, a guy who would still be there would be incredible second pairing defenseman behind Cale Makar. 2 picks later at 6, and that's Moritz Seider. 185 points. Can play 25 minutes a night. Can he be a future number 1? I still think he can. I think he's really thriving on Detroit right now. But I mean, if he's your number 2 guy in a second pairing, you have Devon Toews, Cale Makar, then you have Gerard or someone with Mo Seider. That's one of the best decors I've ever seen. So again, Byram's good, but I think Seider is already elite and really could bolster that decor even more, especially in a playoff team. Get Seider in the playoffs and see what happens. Next up, this is one, like I said earlier, that the player is still solid, still young, but maybe they would have been better off this other direction, and that's with the Dallas Stars. They drafted Lian Bichsel, 25th overall, the 2022 draft. Big, physical D-man, played great in the playoffs, plays mean. Offense isn't right there, but they don't really need him to be. Well, their left side's loaded. That's no secret. The left side's insane. They have Harley, Heiskanen, and Lindell. And that right side's a little weaker. So sometimes Heiskanen plays his offside, Harley, Lindell, those guys play their offside. A few picks later, Chicago took Sam Rinzel. Also defenseman right after him. I just think that would have been a great pick. I love Lian Bichsel. If he was a right-hand shot with his defensive instincts, I would love it. But Rinzel, smooth, modern puck mover, already putting up points. He's actually not putting up points right now. He's like 3 points in 12 games, but I'm sure he'll turn it around. Again, I think Bichel's a great player, but if you're talking about need and maybe fill out that right side, I think Sam Rinzel could have filled that out a little bit better. Now we're going to go to the St. Louis Blues. And actually, St. Louis have actually had some pretty solid draft history, and we're actually going to go back to 2014. The Blues took Robby Fabbri, 18th overall. Good player, solid career, kind of injuries derailed him for quite a while, 200-plus points. And again, I hate bringing up these players a lot because there's a lot of teams that what-if or kind of draft what-ifs on them, but it kind of makes sense. And then St. Louis is always a good team. We're kind of seeing them kind of on the downfall finally after all these years. But in the mid-2010s, before their cup run, they were a consistent first, second round team who couldn't get over the hump. A player who could have got them over the hump, it was 7 picks later after Robby Fabbri, we talked about him before, David Pastrnak. St. Louis was a heavy physical team, but maybe lacked that offense in the playoffs. He could have brought that. I mean, already a Hall of Famer, 60-plus goal guy in the season, Rocket Richard winner, 850 points. Yeah, I think, again, we bring up Pastrnak quite a bit. But, and again, I like to go to needs, what they needed. Like Dallas needed a right-handed shot defenseman. So did Colorado. I think for Dallas, or for St. Louis at that time in 2014, they were a solid team. Like I said, playoffs every single year, first, second round. They lacked their offense. They had big guys like Backes, Oshie, Berglund, and everything like that. It's Anthony Stewart, but yeah, I think Pastrnak would have brought that skill into the playoffs, and maybe they would have won a cup before that 2019 run. Next, we're going to go to Nashville. And again, this is another player we talked about a lot, but it makes a lot of sense. And also, the biggest, just the player they drafted did not do much. So in the 2019 draft, Nashville drafted Fedor Svechkov at 19. I mean, 18 points, 67 career games, just hasn't really thrived or really been the player they maybe hoped him to be. Bottom 6 projection at best. 4 picks later, like I said, Wyatt Johnston. I mean, he could have been your future number 1 center. Your D-core is already pretty solid with Roman Josi at that time. So there's, 98 goals already. 98 as a, 21-year-old. One of the best young forwards in the league. Great in the playoffs. Nashville's been kind of hunting for offense forever. Kind of their star. I know they have Philip Forsberg. I mean, these two on the line would have been absolutely electric. So, yeah, they passed on a 40-goal kid. Just a few picks later, they could have had him. Next, we have the Winnipeg Jets. And back again with Winnipeg. Again, we're just talking about the Winnipeg Jets, not about the Atlanta Thrashers, because again, I don't want to go too far back. They've had some solid draft history. I mean, Josh Morrissey. Obviously Connor Hellebuyck, Mark Scheifele, all these guys. But one that I think this is not a crazy kind of what if, but still, the Jets took Ville Heinola in the 2019 draft at 20th. Again, talented puck mover, but still hasn't really cracked the lineup full time. But again, defenseman may take some time, but still, I mean, it's 6 years ago, right? The draft is 12 points, 53 games. Then at 32, so our first actual second-round pick, first pick of the second round, Winnipeg has maybe lacked that center position, lacked consistency in that center position, and a player who's really thriving this season. Took him a while to get there, but has tons of potential in a two-way game, and that's Shane Pinto from Ottawa. 120 points, two-way beast, a future core piece in Ottawa, likely going to sign an 8x8 deal. Again, they needed center depth. Obviously, Scheifele is a true number 1 center. They got Velarde, but usually they play together. I don't hate Cole Perfetti, but I don't know if he's that kind of second-line center, and I think Shane Pinto could have been. Or even if he's not, having a second-line, third-line center, Pinto and Perfetti is still very solid instead of Nemestikov and Perfetti, right? So, again, Pinto's starting to hit his stride a bit more. I mean, he's a consistent 35, 40-point piece, but now I think he's really thriving and starting to overtake Giroux as a second-line center in Ottawa, where Winnipeg could definitely used him there. Last few here, the Utah Mammoth. Obviously, they haven't had very drafts as the Utah Mammoths. And, I mean, again, the Coyotes and the Mammoth, they've had some very solid drafts with Cooley, Gunther. Shimsev's looking great. But we'll go back to the 2019 draft where they're still at Arizona. Arizona went to draft Victor Soderstrom at 11th overall. Only 53 games, 11 points. He's off to Boston. Just has not really shown what he maybe could have been. 2 picks later, a player who, like, they have the offense. They have some defense. Like, they're a built team. Obviously, Vejmelka's playing well, but a player who, I mean, is in the Vezina kind of Vezina nomination right now, playing great, could have been the final piece of that puzzle for that Utah team. Have a young, legit prospect at every position. Spencer Knight was taken 2 picks later at 13. I mean, obviously, he had to go into some issues in Florida. Glide's doing great. And now, I mean, on a young Chicago team, he has like a .920 save percentage of 2.3 goals against. I mean, he could have been their goalie for the future. Again, they have their forward studs with Gunther, Cooley, Barrett, Hayden, all these guys. Now Paterka, defensive Shimashev, Sergachev, all these guys, Dursey. I think a goalie really, I know Vejmelka's playing well, but a young goalie to really take control of that core, I think Spencer Knight would have done that. So now this one may cause some, so here's my thoughts. So Chicago Blackhawks now. The Hawks took Artyom Levshunov, second overall. I think I said that right. I'm not sure. Who again, I think he's a great pick for Chicago. Big, strong, ready, hard to come by those in the draft. 6'4", 220. And as we're talking right now on Sunday, November 9th or 11th, excuse me, he has 2 assists today. Like, he's on that first power play. He's playing great. Definitely not a buzz. Like, he is playing awesome. The only reason I'm saying a what if is Demidov at 5. And that should come as no shock. That's what Montreal fans are saying all the time. Imagine this guy with Bedard. And I get it. I understand it's hard to come by with Levshunov and everything, but they have Rinzel. I know Rinzel's going to be struggling this year, and Levshunov actually is playing real well. Maybe, who knows? Maybe he turns into like a Chris Chelios. Maybe he turns into one of these guys, which I also think he can. But you're thinking about, and Bedard's putting up points already. Like, he doesn't really need much more help, but at the same time, the what if of Demidov and Bedard is not, it's hard to pass up. And I mean, Demidov's already up almost a point a game in his rookie year right now. He has 2 points in his 2 games last year, played solid in the playoffs when he did play, and now he's making defense look silly. He's top 5 must-watch player in the NHL. He looks like the next Kaprizov. Again, I think Levshunov is a great pick, a very solid pick for the organization. Is going to do very well, and he's already doing very well. But I think down the road, 2 offensive giants like Demidov and Bedard would have just caused a ruckus in the NHL. Finally, let's get to the Minnesota Wild. And we're actually going back to 2016. They've had some solid drafts. Like, obviously, Kaprizov in the 5th, 6th round, obviously. But, like, Marco Rossi, they traded for Brock Faber. But Marco Rossi, Matt Boldy, Steve Bouillon, Jesper Wallstedt, Philip Gustafsson, they've had some great drafts. So I have to go back to 2016. This one's nothing crazy. Minnesota took Luke Kunin, 15th overall. He was always a solid bottom 6 piece. He had 140 points in his career, hard worker, but a player who, at that time, maybe could have accelerated Minnesota's projection in the season. Obviously, at that time, they had Ryan Suter, they had Zach Parise, but that's Jacob Chychrun. I mean, we've seen what he's become when he's healthy, a 2-way horse, nearly 300 points in his career, top pair defenseman, can play 24 minutes a night. Minnesota could have had their number 1 D locked up, and maybe things would have turned out better for Minnesota. Whether they have won a cup, whether they've not, I don't know. Probably not, but maybe they would have made some more runs, maybe some bigger moves, and definitely a what if there. Again, they've had some great drafts, but I think Jacob Chychrun would have been a solid ad for Minnesota instead of Luke Kunin, obviously. So yeah, that's it. The Central, not as crazy, I'd say, as the Atlantic and Metro. Next week, we got the Pacific Division, which could get dicey with teams like Edmonton, Anaheim, San Jose, LA, etc. Yeah, some missed superstars, some missed starting goaltenders for the Central, but nothing crazy. But yeah, hope you like this video. Again, please comment, like, subscribe. I would love to get to 100 subscribers by the new year. We're at 55 right now. And yeah, we're getting tons of views on these videos, so clearly these are videos people want to watch. If you haven't checked out the Buzz Mafia podcast, go check out Buds and Pucks on X, Instagram, TikTok, and the Buzz Mafia podcast, like I said, on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. Tune in. Let me know what you think. See you guys next time.
Tavares coming out, sends it in a goal. They score! They score! Holy Mackinac, they score! Morgan Riley! Mo Riley! The Leafs have won it! They're going to the second round!
Gonna run for it, he got it! And there he goes!